I welcome you to the October 2025 edition of our joint security press briefing, happening on the first week of November. This monthly engagement demonstrates the federal government's commitment to transparency, accountability, and continuous communication with citizens on issues of security, anti-corruption, and public trust. I'm going to run through an overview, a table of summary. For the month of September and October, I'm going to give a kind of comparison in terms of trend analysis. In the month of September, the major arrest of suspects, I say major, there are several thousands of arrests, but major, we have 42 in September, and that rose to 56 in October. So I'm sure by the time you go through the full details, you will see the breakdown of this arrest. And that's amounts to 33% increase, showing stronger intelligence coordination. And the victims that were rescued in the month of September were 19 in total, and that rose to 27 in the month of October. And this is as a result of improved rapid response. This happened especially in Kogi and Zamfara states. A lot of arms and ammunition were seized during the month of September, but that rose significantly in the month of October because the security agencies adopted proactive interdictions, and especially in the northwest and the southeast. Fatalities as a result of violent crimes, we had between 240 to 210. It declined actually in September, and more so in October, it declined to 185. So that's about 12% reduction month of October, as against 210 that we have in September, and 240 in the previous months. You will recall in the last briefing, we reported the improved interventions across the borders. That has continued to improve. We had 4 incidents in September, but in October, the interventions, cross-border interventions, were 7. That is because there is the expanded collaboration between the Nigeria Immigration Service and the DSS. Comparison analysis. Security synergy among the military, DSS, police, and immigration services improved measurably in October, producing faster interdictions and fewer casualties. And terror-linked arrests rose by 33%, reflecting proactive use of human and digital intelligence. And rescue activities increased by 40%, showing that security operations are shifting from reactive to preventive. And as we said, fatalities dropped by 12%, demonstrating the effectiveness of joint operations and early warning systems. The government position on this is that the government acknowledges the sacrifices of our security forces and reaffirms that data-driven collaboration and citizen intelligence are central to sustaining national peace and safety. Anti-corruption and transparency update. a look at the ICPC performance in the month of October. 44 petitions were received, 15 investigations concluded, 5 new cases filed, and 2 convictions secured. 840 million naira and $919,000 were recovered. 35 public health projects tracked and 9 anti-corruption units inaugurated. We should all know that ICPC has hundreds of anti-corruption units in several institutions, even including NOA, as part of their efforts to ensure preventive measure. For the EFCC, I'll give a 2-year summary under the new leadership of Mr. Olaolukayede. In 2023, for instance, we had a total of 230 billion estimated cash recoveries. Properties, 402 properties recovered, and major fraud cases concluded in 2003. In 2023 was the first one, and 2024, 290 billion naira, was recovered, and 975 properties recovered. Enforcement and forfeitures are being intensified. In 2025 to date, so far 46 billion naira has been recovered, and 125 properties this year alone has been recovered, and consolidation phase and asset allocation. I'll speak about the asset allocation shortly. Notable achievement under the new leadership of EFCC, a total of 566.3 billion naira plus $411.6 million recovered across 14 different currencies, with 1,502 properties forfeited within the last 2 years. Part of recovered funds, 100 billion. Note that I said 566.3 billion naira. And out of that, 100 billion naira was reinvested in student loan scheme and consumer credit scheme. Recovered assets are also being allocated to government institutions for service delivery. So they are not just lying idle, they are being put to use. The government position on all of this is that the federal government is ensuring that every kobo recovered from corruption works for the people, funding education, credit, and health reforms rather than lying idle. This reflects renewed hope, accountability. Our friends in the media often ask the question, the money recovered, where is the money? Now you are seeing the application, student loan, 100 billion, and then the consumer credit scheme also benefited. And many government institutions are being given buildings, recovered buildings, forfeited buildings to use as offices, nationwide, saving government, resources. I'll speak on regulatory and enforcement now. That has to do with NAFDAC, NDLEA, Nigeria Immigration Service, the Federal Road Safety Corps, and the Correctional Service, the Nigeria Correctional Service. NAFDAC seized over 70 containers of counterfeit and unsafe goods and shut down illegal warehouses in Lagos and Onitsha. within the month of October. NDLA dismantled 14 drug syndicates, arrested 1,378 suspects, and secured 251 convictions in the month of October. The Nigerian Immigration Service rescued 76 victims of human trafficking and processed 15,000 visa applications under the new digital system. We've begun to see the effect of the digital system that was launched just recently. The Federal Road Safety Corps recorded a 12% drop in fatal crashes following intensified Ember Month campaigns. I'm sure we know what Ember Month campaign is. Starting from the month of September, Road Safety Corps has intensified campaign. We often have significant improvements now, other than before, when you have in September, October, November, December, there is tendency for increase in fatality crashes on the road. But that is dropping significantly. Thank you, Road Safety, for your effort. The Nigerian Correctional Service expanded inmate rehabilitation and mental health outreach nationwide. I would urge our people in the press to particularly pay attention to what is going on in the correctional service. A lot of reform is going on there. People are not just locked in as inmates. A lot of effort. People are coming out as graduates, even PhD holders coming out from that facility now. That is commendable. Comparison analysis between the month of September and October. Enforcement actions increased by 28%, and convictions improved from 210 to 251. That's plus 19%. Road crash fatalities declined from 235 to 210. That dropped by 11%. These metrics confirm a steady positive curve in national safety indicators. The government response to this is to commend these agencies for their professionalism and reaffirms its unwavering resolve to build a safe, fair, and accountable nation through coordination and transparency. NOA's public communication and trust building drive. Between August and October 2025, NOA intensified national communication on security awareness, civic responsibility, and unity. The key metrics to note in the NOA's intervention. Across the 36 states and FCT, NOA activated the Joint Security Communication Network. So what we are doing here today is to be taken by all the 36 states and FCT directorates and given further traction across the country. And 50 plus radio and TV stations that we mobilized during the last engagement, such as this, estimated 29 million citizens were reached. And our deployment of digital channels reached about 3 million more via Facebook, X, formerly Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, and the NOA Clean AI voice and chat assistant. The total reach estimated for the month of October was 32 million. The core message that we deliver is trust is Nigeria's strongest security asset. Without trust, there's no way we can make any impact because it takes the whole of society to work together along with the security agencies and the regulatory bodies for us to be able to achieve significant improvement and ensure that there is peace in our country. So if you look at the month of September and October, through the activities of NOA, our outreach grew from 25 million to 32 million. That's about 28% increase. We have intensified our fact-checking interventions on misinformation, which increased by 40%. And community partnerships expanded from 1,050 to 1,460 across the grassroots clusters. The impact: public trust and vigilance improved measurably in recent opinion tracking. Media echo of verified government information also has increased, while fake news spread noticeably declined within the period. So the government recognizes that NOA remains the lead driver of public trust and civic resilience. In the digital era of information, we must know that information itself is a tool. Accurate information saves lives. Misinformation costs lives. Integrated government outlook across agencies, October 2025 shows: 1. Reduced insecurity indicators nationwide. Increased recoveries and asset management transparency. I'm not sure you were able to track in the past what happened to recovered money and property, but now, on monthly basis, you have access to such information. And then broader citizen engagement and improved trust. The Coordinated Joint Security Communication Platform is producing what global analysts call the whole of government approach, a best practice model used in advanced democracies to align security, communication, and governance. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's renewed hope agenda continues to translate into visible data-backed outcomes, greater security, restored confidence, and institutional accountability. Now, citizens' call to action. What do we expect from the citizens? We expect the citizens to be vigilant, to report suspicious activities promptly, verify before you share any information on social media especially, avoid spreading unverified news. And there are many of them out there. And the recognition of the importance of partnering locally. Work with the traditional youth and faith leaders to maintain peace across the community. And this is also the focus of the National Orientation Agency. And lastly, citizens must support enforcement. We must cooperate with security agencies and regulatory bodies. As I said before, information, in other words, right and correct information saves life. My closing remark. In conclusion, October 2025 marked another step forward in Nigeria's collective journey towards safety and trust. Together, through courage, collaboration, and communication, we are reclaiming public confidence in our institutions. Together we build trust, together we build peace, together we build Nigeria, and I will always say thank you to our media people for your efforts. Nigeria first. No any other country is more important than our country, and no country can save us for what we cannot save ourselves from. Tweets from the President of the United States, Mr. Donald Trump. Well, let me speak specifically to some of the imports of the tweets. One is to say there is a Christian genocide in Nigeria. And I'm sure even America knows that is not true. But it is also understandable that there are some Nigerians who are actively pushing this agenda. This is not the first time that the intelligence of the United States has failed America. It failed them in Iraq. It turned out that there was no weapon of mass destruction, and they apologized. It failed them in Libya and many other instances. So I'm sure this is another error in an intelligence gathering. But beyond that, we all are Nigerians, I suppose, and we know that there are killings in Nigeria, and there are killings that should not happen. And there will not be this monthly security briefing if this government does not take it seriously. The essence of sitting down here every month is to assess how well we are doing and to allow the media, on behalf of Nigerians, to ask questions. Just recently, the same United States commended Nigeria publicly for the arrest of 2 major terrorists. We are just listening to the NFIU now, how we have been removed from the grey list. Grey list means blacklist of, of countries that are not doing enough. We have been removed, which means the international body in charge of that confirmed that we are doing well in terms of working to ensure that terrorism financing is not allowed. So when you say what is the military doing, the military is doing a lot, and I think the media, we also need to take the issue of judicial reporting more seriously. A lot is going on in the courts that we don't often follow the stories, and those stories don't make their ways to the mainstream media. Just 2 weeks ago, I read when unfortunately I've forgotten the name of the man that was arrested as somebody who was channeling funds to, you remember the name? He's still in court. And the government refused, and is still being prosecuted. But you don't see that, in major media, you don't see that in the social media. They don't make their way. We don't emphasize all these efforts. All these things that we read out now should not be new to us. Media constantly, judicial correspondence should have taken care of all of this. So the military is doing a lot, and a country that is not working seriously on the issue of security will not take that drastic step that the president just took last week by changing the top echelons of the military, to ensure that the system is rejigged and empowered to be able to do more. The same United States lifted the sanction on the sales of weapons, and they have been selling weapons to Nigeria, and they only do that to countries that they believe is using the weapon to achieve the objective. Those also forget there's a way that the security agencies will respond to these issues, and then you begin to answer questions for human rights violation from the same quarters. So you ask yourself sometime, between the deep blue sea and the devil, where do you go? But that is not to say there is no insecurity in the country, and there are killings. But we also must be certain of two things. One, the killings in the Middle Belt Trough up to southern Kaduna would happen to be more Christians, because those are Christian-dominated areas. But most of those killings were not because somebody went to church. It would be because somebody is fighting over land, the issue of settlers and indigents, the issue between Tiv and Jukuns, for instance. Those are two Christian ethnic groups. And the killings have been going on forever. And the two sides are Christians. But when you talk of what is going on in Safara, Katsina, Sokoto, all the way to Niger, these are Muslim-dominated areas. So the deaths will also be more of Muslims. So what we have in this country is challenge of insecurity, of terrorists, of bandits, of kidnappers. And that's what we are responding to. That is one. Secondly, even if there is a deliberate attempt to eliminate certain religious groups in this country, where are we going to start from? There's hardly anyone here that will trace to the second cousin without finding somebody from other religion in that family. So where are you going to start from? Or perhaps we assume that if America lands here, which is not, of course, going to happen, if America lands here today, then they will ask the Christians to be pinpointing those of us that are Muslim before they shoot. That has never happened anywhere. What is going on in Palestine involves both Muslim and Christian. Churches are bombed. They just wiped out a whole Christian community in Palestine just last week. A whole community, entire Christian community. Many go and Google about it. So America should start by saving the Christians in Palestine. The Palestinians who are Christians. Start from there. Save those ones. So we must be careful in our country. There were Libyans who thought they needed external support. Now they have the Libya they wanted now. There were Syrians who thought they needed external support. Now they have the Syria they wanted. There were Yemenis who thought they needed external support. Now they have the Yemen that they wanted. There were Iraqis who thought they needed external support. Now they have the Iraqis that they wanted. And in all of this, there is no one-side victim. It's all of the people that were affected and have been affected. So we must be careful. Then, just an information, there's going to be a security briefing today at the office of the NSA, where all the security agencies, and it's going to be Nigeria's official response to this issue. Thank you very much. Now, on the... Okay, I just mentioned something about the beneficiaries of recoveries, which our brother from EFCC and the ICPC, our sister there, also mentioned. Yes, they emphasize the beneficiaries in terms of people who were victims, and the system assisted them. Nigeria happened to them positively and got their things back to them. But there are also institutions, including NOA, that is benefiting from the recoveries. Just last year, we benefited 25 vehicles from the EFCC, part of the recovered vehicles. Nobody's clapping. And I can tell you there are many government institutions who have offices today just because either ICPC or EFCC pass on some of these forfeited buildings to them. And that's why I said saving government critical resources. You don't have to go and build a new office. And then so you use that facility. Benue, for instance, was a very sad case. The incident that happened the other time. The president went there. He didn't end there. The police arrested over 50 people, and they have been prosecuted. We expect the media searchlight follow the prosecution, on daily basis. Let Nigerians know what is going on. By now, we should even know who these people are. We don't even know. We should know their names. We should be able. I'm sorry to say, I'm also a journalist, and I did political reporting especially. We should know the family where they originated. We should know their community. We should go behind the news to get facts, for Nigerians, so that we are not in doubt. Maybe the police has arrested people that are not even the real people. Let's bring out the facts now. Is that not important? So they should not be like ghosts or figures. They are human beings. They are Nigerians. Which community are they from? What tribe are they? What religion do they practice? Which courts are they attending? What is the status of the prosecution? All this information should be available to all of us. So I think it is very important that we know that the government is working. And finally, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, I don't know if you are looking for a fanatic and you are going to write his name on that list. We should remember his wife is a pastor in the church. So maybe when Americans come, as somebody said, they are trying to save her from her husband. The head of the military in this country, the chief of defense staff that just left, is actually from Southern Kaduna. And the new one is also a Christian. That is the overall boss of the military in this country. And one or two of the service chiefs are also Christians. The chief of police in this country is a Christian. I don't know how much these people will have collected to supervise genocide against their fellow Christians. So I think we should not bother so much about it. Government will respond appropriately. Thank you.